So before we dive in, allow me to explain the ground rules set for the webinar. Lines of all the participants will be muted throughout the webinar session. However, feel free to ask your queries and questions using the chat window, and I will try to answer most of the questions, if not all, subject to time availability at the end during the Q&A session. My name is Ninad, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Inogic. Speaking of Inogic, we are a leading service provider and ISV for past more than a decade, and we have exclusive Dynamics 365 products. We are very much active in the Dynamics 365 community, and our blogs are extremely popular and appreciated by the community. We truly believe in the philosophy of one-click solution, which is building productivity apps that reduces multiple steps which otherwise a CRM user has to take. Now, as you can see on the slide, we have various applications on the offering. I would like to take a moment and very briefly describe some of them. The first one that I want to touch base is Mapletex. Mapletex is certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365, and it helps businesses around the world to plot, plan, visualize, and analyze the Dynamics CRM data on the map, and it offers seamless mapping services. Now, key features include managing territories, route optimization, smart appointment planner, and many, many more. One of my favorite apps is the SharePoint Security Sync. It is a comprehensive solution for integrating Dynamics 365 with SharePoint. It also synchronizes the security privileges from Dynamics 365 to SharePoint and ensures secure, reliable access to all of your confidential data. Now, apart from developing these awesome applications, we are also an SI. We do assist partners and customers with offshore development services. So in case you have a world-changing idea, I would request you to get in touch with us at crm@inogic.com. So let's see the agenda for today's session. Today, I will be talking about the Kanban board, followed by the Map My Relationships, along with their live demonstration. And towards the end of the session, I will open the floor for your questions. However, before I dive in the details, let's see what impact visualization has. As per various surveys, visualization results in 5 times more likely to make decisions much faster than the market peers or the competitors. It also impacts about 24% reduction in the business meeting duration. Now that's a huge saving. 48%, now that's not a small number, 48% managers find the data they need easily using various data visualization tools. Now, and we all are aware, if we have the relevant data at the correct time, we definitely can do wonders. I guess the term, a picture is worth 1,000 words, still stands true even in today's age of technology. With that being said, let's see what our first visualization app has in store for us. So what is a Kanban? Well, it's a Japanese manufacturing term in which the supply of the components was regulated through the use of an instruction card. Now, inspired by that card, we came up with the Kanban board, which helps in bringing of the card and the information on a card. Traditionally, the records have always been visualized as a list of records in a tabular format. Now, these records are, however, a part of a continuous sales or a customer service process. And personally, I feel it would be easier to visualize the status of the record based on probably the stage at which it is in the process flow. That's what our solution, the Kanban board, has to offer. Some of the key features of the Kanban board includes the Kanban view itself. We can visualize any CRM view as lanes in the Kanban. The second is the BPF support. The Kanban board supports not only the system business process flows, but even your custom BPF. The third is the row grouping. The Kanban board supports to categorize and group the records in a row on the basis of the selected field value, something like a priority, for example, high, normal, and low. One of my favorite features of the Kanban board is the drag and drop ability. So we can, the Kanban board has the ability to drag and drop the cards across the lanes, and it's not just about dragging one to support creating of activity records, maybe like a phone call or an email or an appointment. Now that is a really helpful feature when anyone is looking at that particular card. Moving ahead, we also have the compact card view. So the records in the Kanban view are represented as a compact cards. And the best part is we have the ability to configure which information that needs to be displayed in the card. The next one is the search itself. So the support for search through the native quick search available for views in the CRM itself. The Kanban board also has the ability to sort the records and filter them as per probably the date created. We also have the context aware feature. Now, you can perform any action from the ribbon bar by selecting the card, as if you are working in the traditional view upon selecting a particular card. And one of my, again, favorite feature for Kanban board is the aggregate field values. The Kanban board has this support to view the aggregate field values of the records on the lane and the row headers. I'm sure looking at all these features, it's quite imperative that we now go for the live demonstration of the Kanban. So here is one of the screen that we have probably seen a day in, day out, right? This is basically the customer service hub wherein I'm looking at all my cases. Traditionally, the way we have always seen the records in the tabular format. Now, does this give me information? Definitely, yes. It gives me the case title, the case number, the priority, the origin, the customer, the owner, and so on and so forth. However, what if I want to have a look at the relevant values of that particular records? And that's where the Kanban board comes into the picture. Now, the same view, the same all the cases with the help of the Kanban board once configured will look something like this. A beautiful visualization of all the cases, right? So let's see how this Kanban board has been organized. So at the first instinct, what we can see is the lanes. So I can see a number of lanes, and all these lanes, like discussed, they are actually available with the statuses. So in progress, on hold, waiting for details, and so on. Not just that, I can also at a glance look at how many records are present in the in progress state, and similarly for the other one. Moving ahead, each lane has certain cards that are associated. Now, one of the features that I had mentioned was the compact card. So now I can look at the record and I can look at the relevant fields that I want to use for my day-to-day operations. Now, the information that you can see on each card right now is completely configurable, and we can configure it as per our business requirement and as per the records, or sorry, as per the fields that I want to be displayed. Moving ahead, within each card, if you look at every card, we have some pieces of information. So I've got the service maintenance, I've got the created on, the owner, what is the case number, and not to forget the activities. One of the another feature that I had introduced. So here I have configured for 3 activities. Maybe the email, we can click here and send an email, the phone call, or even we can create a task. All these records in each of the lane can also be sorted. As of this moment, at the top, we have all the records that are being, all the cards that have been displayed, they are sorted as per the case title. So we can configure it as per the case title, as per the customer, as per the created on, as per the owner, and case number. Now you guessed it right. These all are the values which are basically displayed on the card itself. Absolutely right. And we also have the ability of sorting it in probably ascending or descending order. Moving a little bit at the top, if I want to save some of my real estate, I can also, I've also hidden all the empty lanes so that some of my real estate wherein if certain lane is blank, then that won't be visible. Like we had mentioned, the Kanban board supports the business process flows. It supports all the custom BPF as well as the system BPFs. We also have a feature called as global sorting. Now, the global sorting will basically be applied to all the lanes. Now, let me show you one of the interesting things. So let me say I want to go ahead for a particular lane. I want it to be done on a created on and in this descending order. Now, this sorting is applied on this lane level. However, if I change the global sorting, then as per the selection over here, this is going to impact all the lanes. We can also have a search feature available. So for example, traditionally how we were looking at it. So here is all my request one. And the way I was saying, I can save my real estate, I can hide the empty lanes and I get the relevant records right in front of me. Now, another interesting feature of the Kanban board that I had discussed was the aggregate function. It was one of my personal favorite features. Now, to demonstrate that aggregate feature, let me switch to opportunities instead of cases. Now, as you may have noticed, much of the information relevance is same. We have the cards, we have the lanes, we have the sorting, we have the global sorting, we have the search feature. Everything is same. However, you may have noticed at the top, I have certain aggregate functions. So if I just hit on this, I have applied certain aggregate functions on certain numeric values on a estimated revenue or the budget amount or the total amount. Now, from a sales perspective, this can be an extremely important feature. If a sales rep is looking at this particular Kanban board and he gets to know, oh, I have got something like these many values, which are my estimated revenue, and it's in progress. It's the extra, that little push that helps the sales rep to achieve and overachieve their targets. Now, to set up all these Kanban board is really easy. Now, Kanban board can be we can go ahead and in the advanced setting we can go to customizing the system and go to these opportunities, and under all the entities in the opportunity, I can go in the controls tab, and here is where I have configured my Kanban board. So let me try to do this. Wow, that looks good. So I have on my right hand side, I have set up all the values that were required for the Kanban, and on the right hand also on the left hand side, you can see the resultant output of it. So once we have selected the Kanban, this basically is where I have set the Kanban board as the default view for the web, for the phone, as well as the tablet. Now let's see what it requires to get the relevant output. The first property is the lane filter criteria, which I have set it to the status code, and the resultant is I get all the lanes basis on the status. The next property that I have set is the header. Now, in case of header, I have set it to the name, which is why we are getting the name at the header. Moving ahead, I have three pieces of information that I can set it for body text 1, 2, and 3, to which I have set it up as parent account ID, owner ID, and created on. which can be easily found over here: the parent account ID, the owner, and the created one. If I just scroll down a bit, the default sorting attribute has been set to the parent account ID. Perfect. And these are my three aggregate fields, the one that were displayed over here. So I have the first aggregate field for estimated value, which is base. The second one is for budget amount, and the third one is the total amount. These are the three values. However, if I scroll down a bit, these three are responsible for applying the aggregate function. So I have applied sum for my estimated revenue, max for my budget amount, and average for my total amount. Further, we can also specify the activity name. Now, the resultant, which you can see over here, which is creating a phone call or the email or the appointment, is a result of this property, wherein we have set the phone call, the email, and the appointment. Moving ahead, these are some of the properties that can help you in the visual effect. So whether you want by default the card to be collapsed or you want the card to be expanded, whether you want the entire row to be collapsed, and whether you want to hide the empty lanes by default. So by default, we don't hide it unless you go here and hit it as yes, that is Y. Then by default, all the empty lanes would be hidden. Now, it's as easy as this to actually configure the Kanban View. I'm pretty sure looking at all these things, you may have already started the visualization in your mind, which feature can be best utilized by your organization to achieve a certain result, right? Now, even I am quite intrigued to know about this. So I'm starting a very small poll of a 30-second poll, and it says, which feature did you like the most about the Kanban board? I request you to please take a few seconds and cast your vote. So whether it was the aggregate fields, whether it was the row grouping, whether it was the business process flow support, or whether it was the drag and drop of the cards or the quick create action. A drag and drop of the cards, perfect. So drag and drop of the cards, aggregate fields, wow. So some of them are also interested in the quick create. I completely understand. I completely understand that it's very, the features are so intriguing that it becomes imperative for us to select, oh, I like the first feature or I like the second feature. Perfect. So the drag and drop of the cards is something which has got the very nice. Almost all the persons have said 100% is for the drag and drop of the cards. So let me just thank you very much for casting the vote. Now, the drag and drop of the card is what was something which even I am interested. So what happens is, if you have a certain card in progress lane as of this moment, and due to some reasons, this particular opportunity is now going on hold. So all we need to do is just drag the card from the first lane and we can put it in the on hold, and all the underlying values would be automatically updated, and this opportunity is now on hold state. So drag and drop of the cards that results in the change of the underlying field values is one of the best features that the Kanban board has to offer. Perfectly well. Now, having said that, let me also we also have one more visualization app, which is nothing but my map my relationships, right? So let me switch back for a moment to my PPT, and let's talk about the map my relationships. Now, we have been using dynamic CRM probably since last many years. For a long time, we have been entering large amount of data within our CRM, definitely. Now, if I may ask, now how easy it is to find a contact who is, let's say, who is a board of director in multiple companies. Now, well, I'm sure you will agree that it's a daunting ask, and we might need to spend a few man hours to get the answer manually. So will Map My Relationships help me in answering such questions? Well, let's see. Some of the key features of Map My Relationships include a complete 360-degree views of all the important data of the record in a single view. That's right. It can give you the entire 360 degrees of view of the important data. The Map My Relationship supports for one is to many, many is to one, as well as many to many types of relationships. So we have got it all covered for you. The Map My Relationship also supports for viewing aggregate values without the need for creating any roll-up fields. The Map My Relationship also includes a fantastic feature called as Map My Connections, wherein you can use the Map My Connections to configure connections to control, configure the connection control to create, update, view, and delete the connection records. The Map My Relationship supports the child configurations as well. We can set up the child configuration and drill n level further down through the relationships of an entity. We can also create associate record within just one click. We can also perform quick actions. The Map My Relationship has the ability to quickly record any activity, maybe like a phone call or an appointment for the related records. And finally, the color legends. The Map My Relationship has the ability to indicate a respective connection roles that records are connected with. Now, with that being said, let's see all these features in action in the live demo. So here is one of my view for the accounts. So if I just ask the same question again, am I getting the data in front of me? Definitely yes, I'm getting the account name, the phone number, the address, and so on and so forth. But let's say how many employees that are working with the with any account, or the question that I had put forth at the start. Whether can I find if a certain board of director is of a certain account is also acting as the board of director in certain other account. Now that's what intrigues me. With the Map My Relationships installed and configured, the same can be viewed. For example, let's say we have got an account AG Delicacies, and under the third tab, which is basically the Map My Relationships, you will be able to view a 360 degree of information. Now, when I say 360 degree, the information that you can see on your screen right now is the result of a certain configurations that we have done, and these configurations can be completely configured as per your requirements as well. So let's see what all piece of information we have. So we have, starting with deals. So I can easily see that there are 8 records under the deals. Now, what exactly is deals? Now, this is one of the very nice feature that we have introduced very recently. These are nothing but the opportunities, and we have got the custom label. Instead of showing the custom label, we can show it as a deals. And let me just double click. Sorry, let me just double click the deals. Wow. And now I can see one more feature, grouping of the records. So now I can understand that I have around 8 opportunities in total. Sorry, out of 8, 7 are still in the open, whereas one of them is in the one state. And if I now go ahead and if I just, oh, that's another feature that I had mentioned, the aggregate part. So the budget amount of all the 7 records which are in the open state can be easily displayed. Again, one of the features that can take, or that can help your sales rep to take that one extra step, one extra mile to achieve their targets. If I double click on them, this is what I'm opening. So I've got all the records, all the 7 opportunities. Now, if I just hover on a certain one, I can also have a simple view that gives me some extra information about that particular opportunity. Now, isn't that an added advantage when we are working on certain records? Not just that, if I go ahead and if I right click on a certain opportunity, this is where the quick action comes into the picture. The quick action feature that we had discussed or that I had introduced some time back. So I have configured that I can have an appointment or an email or a phone call, a task, or even a fax right here. And the record opens on a single click. So you can also open it and edit it as per the requirement, and then you can just close back to go back to my map my relationship. Now this is just for the deals, right? Let me double click it back, and it is again expanded. We can also have the same features at different entities. So here I can see I have a couple of tasks, and one is in normal priority, one is in high priority, and that can also be utilized. Moving ahead, this is an interesting one. So Joe Smith is basically one of the feature that I wanted to demonstrate was the parent. So Joe Smith is nothing but the parent of this particular, the parent contact for this particular AG delicacies. Let me go ahead and demonstrate something called as the contacts. So I have all these contacts that are associated with AG delicacies, and all the features work well. So we have the view and we have everything working perfectly fine. Now, one of the most interesting feature that I want to touch base is the connections. So let me double click on the connections, and this will give you a bigger answer. So I have multiple people who are playing some or the other role with AG delicacies. And let me go ahead and try to double click on Abraham. So the moment I open or double click this Abraham, this is where I'm getting that, oh, that's the N level feature that we had discussed, right? So we can go ahead up to N levels and find out more and more information about a certain record. So as we can see, Abraham is playing 18 roles. Wow, that's a big number. So let me double click it, and this is the most interesting feature. And one of the questions that I had put up at the start, can I get a person who is acting as a board of director in multiple companies? Yes, we can definitely get it. So here I am able to find out that Abraham is basically not just a board of director in one of the companies, but he's actually working in as a board of directors in multiple companies. Now, the business use case of such a feature is actually limitless. We can find out who are the influencers, who are the technology influencers, who are the stakeholders, who are the business stakeholders, and who can impact in any or all of my opportunities that are present with me, isn't it? Moving ahead to, of course, one of the prerequisite for everything is the data needs to be present within the CRM, and that's what I had introduced. We have been using we have been using the dynamic CRM since last many years, and we have all the potential data with us, and the Map My relationship helps you to visualize your data in a more structured manner. To get all of this, we have to configure a certain entity configurations. Once the Map My relationship is installed, this is where we can go and we can configure. Now, the information, the basic information that you were able to see over here, let me just refresh the grid. All this information is because I have configured an entity configuration. So let me just show you what it needs to actually configure the contact entity. So here you may notice that this customer map is the name of the entity configuration which is working on the account, right? Moving ahead, we can also set the image. So if you want a record image or the image URL, so if you want your own custom image, we can set it up. And and the allowed actions are something like appointment and the task. Now where we can say this action. So let me go back over here and let me just right click on the account itself. So once I click on EG delicacy, the right click, this is where I'm getting the appointment and task. And that's an interesting feature for me. So I can set what actions can be allowed, and we can use them real time in the action. We were looking at multiple things at the same time, which is like the task, the connections, the contacts, deals, and so on. That's because this is where I have set up all the entity relationships. So like I had mentioned, we support one to many, many to one, and many to many. In fact, we support all the types of relationships. Let me go ahead and let me show you one of the interesting entity relationship, which is nothing but the opportunity. Just for heads up, this is what the opportunities look like. So we had the deals. So instead of opportunities, it shows deals. We have the one state and we have the open, we have 7 and so on. Perfect. So let's see the opportunity entity relationships. So we have this relationship where we have set the node label. So by default, it would have displayed opportunities. But since I am using the custom label and I have given the custom label as deals, this is what is resulting in the deals to be displayed in my map my relationship control. Moving ahead, these are the allowed actions. Now, the one that I demonstrated some time back, wherein we can send the appointment, email, phone call, task, or even a fax. That's because this is what we have set in the entity relationship. When we hover on a certain opportunity, there was a tooltip that was displayed. The result of that tooltip is because we have configured my open opportunities on the over here, the view to show fields on the tooltip. Let's go ahead. Let's see about the cluster settings. So group by the status. This group by status is basically responsible for getting the deals. When I open the deals, this is the one, and open, this is my group by. Do we want to use the custom label? I said yes, I want to use the custom label, and I've just given the value that needs to be present. Remember when under the open, we had this budgeted amount, the base amount, and the sum of it was displayed. This is achieved because I have set the aggregate. Sorry, I have set the measure to my budgeted amount, and I have used the aggregate type as sum. Now, even this feature can also have the node label. However, just to demonstrate, I've used the default label that comes up, and I have not configured for any custom label. Now, once we have configured all these under the customer map, we also need to go ahead in the advanced settings under the customization and somewhere on the form itself. So let me just help you with this. So what we have done is we have went to the form, which is the account form, and within the account form, we have also added the map my relationships control. This is a custom control, and under the properties, under the controls, this is where my map my relationship control lies. Now, in case if you want to just display the default one is to many, many is to one, or many to many relationship, we can set it over here. However, if we want advanced features, the one that I displayed, something where we can drill down, or we can configure certain actions, then we have to go in the map my relationship control field, and this is where I have set this as the customer map. Now, what is this customer map? This customer map is nothing but the entity configuration that we had seen a few moments back. So whatever we have configured in the customer map is then applied over here, and the result as we have already seen, is very, very promising in this format. Seems interesting, right? Okay, now again, I am intrigued with all these features, and I would also like to have your opinion about which feature did you like the most about the Map My Relationship. Now, before I go ahead for that poll, let me show you one of the most interesting features of Map My Relationship as well. So let me go back to my accounts, and within my account, AG Delicacies, I also have one of the feature that we had introduced called as Map My Connection. So at the basic level, the Map My Connection looks a very simple tabular format rule. True. However, if I just hit on the relationship view, we can also get the view back right here in the connections. And now you are about to see a magic once I double click on the connections. So one of the features that I had mentioned for Map My Relationship was the color legends. It was the ability to indicate the respective connection roles that the records are connected to, right? So here we have all the connections right here with their respective color legends. So at the top right, you may notice the color legend where each color is representing a certain connection, something like a decision maker. The red is the former employee, the green is the employee, and so on. And we now can just look at these records, and we can identify the connection and the role with which he or she is associated with the account AG Delicacy. This is probably one of the nicest visualization that you may have seen. And with that, now I can launch the poll. Which feature did you like the most about the Map My Relationships? So whether it was creating associate records, whether it is creating activities like email, phone call, appointment, grouping, the color legends like we saw in Map My Connections, or the drill down to N level relationships. So we have already started getting votes. So creating associate record, perfect. Visualize records, related records by adding grouping, no doubt, one of the nicest features. Oh, we also have color legends, right? So drill down. So yeah, again, the same issue that we generally face, right? All these features are so encouraging that choosing one or two or three or four, if I am asked, I would have selected all of them. True. Thank you again, once again, for casting your vote. And that's pretty much what I wanted to demonstrate about visualization. And I'm pretty confident, just like us, even you're pretty much excited to try all these features hands-on. So let me guide you for that as well. Just a moment, let me switch back to my PPT. Now, both the Kanban and the Map My Relationships are available on Microsoft Dynamics 365 version 9.1 onwards and on Dataverse, and they can be deployed on Dynamics 365 online. Now, we recommend you to give it a try. Please visit our website and download a 15 days fully functional trial and experience the true power of visualization. It's really easy to set up and configure. And in rare case, if you face any issues, please drop an email to crm@inogic.com and we will be really happy to assist you. Also, I want to take a moment and demonstrate some of the client testimonials. Of course, due to the real estate screen constraints, I couldn't accommodate much or all of our clients' testimonial, but these are some of the encouraging testimonials provided by our esteemed customers who are actually using Kanban Board and Map My Relationships day in, day out. You can find all these client testimonials on Microsoft AppSource under our page as well. Now, before I open the floor for the questions, let me just run through the FAQs just in case if a question can be answered even before it is asked. So, is there a limit in viewing the relationship between records? Absolutely no. The more data you have, the more relationships you have, you can just go on up to n level, and depends upon the configuration that we have done, but there's no limit. Is it possible to view the details of the records in the relationship map? Well, I actually demonstrated that as well. Is it possible to switch to normal grid view once the Kanban board is installed? Yes, it is possible to switch back to the normal grid view on the ribbon bar with the three dots. You can anytime switch to the read-only grid view. However, like I said, the Kanban board or the Kanban view gives much more advantages of having the visualization. Are the Kanban board and MapMy relationships compatible across devices? Absolutely yes. What Microsoft Dynamics products do you support? Well, I think I just gave that particular part away. It supports Dynamics 365 version 9.1 onwards and on data. How do we get started? Just a few minutes or a few moments back, I just gave this particular part wherein you can go ahead on our website www.inogic.com and download the fully functional 15 days trial, and do let us know your experience, your feedback, how visualization has helped you to take your day-to-day operations on the next level, and we'll be very happy to know all the feedbacks. Perfect. So with that being said, let me open the floor for any questions. If you have, please feel free to use the chat window, and I'll be very happy to answer the questions. Okay, so the first question that I'm getting is 15-day trial looks good. Is it chargeable? Absolutely not. It's a fully functional 15-day trial without any charges, without any comment. Go ahead, download it, install it. Do let us know in case if you feel or if there are any showstoppers or roadblockers. We'll be very happy to assist you even during that period. And please go ahead and try the visualization apps. Okay, one of the best features I loved about Map My Relationship is the board of directors feature that you demonstrated. Can it be configured for any role? Oh, it can be configured for any role. For the demonstration purpose, I had set it up to the board of directors, but like I had mentioned, whether it's influencer or whether it is technical stakeholder or anyone, it's up to you. In fact, during the demonstration itself, we had multiple roles that were there. I stressed on the board of directors. Team, any questions? I'll be more than happy to answer any questions associated with the Kanban board, with the Map My relationships, with the visualizations. Okay. Oh wow, I've got another one. Love the features of both Kanban board and Map My relationships. Can I get the yeah? So yes, we will be sharing the recording of all these sorry, of today's webinar for your use, and please feel free to just go through the webinar again, and do let us know in case if a certain section or if you get a question post where you start evaluating the solution, and we'll be happy to Okay then. Just wanted to take this moment and say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for attending the webinar. It was my absolute pleasure to introduce the Kanban board and map my relationships solutions to you. Hope you enjoyed the webinar as well. Thank you and see you soon. Till then, stay safe. Bye bye. Take care.